But today we have the Feast of the Holy Innocents, the massacre of all the people, little boys in the Bethlehem area who were 2 years and under. Now, Herod was called the Great not because he was like St. John Paul II the Great, because he did a lot of great things and helped people out. He was a consummate politician that the Romans allowed to rule the entire country, and he did a lot of building. He built the Second Temple. So the temple that Jesus worshipped in, Herod had built. He built things all over the place. He was quite a builder. He was very vicious. Now, scholars like to go to other sources outside the Bible to find confirmation of what's in the Bible. And it's called an attestation, technically. And there's no attestation for the slaughter of the innocents that we can find. However, this is very typical. You would expect Herod to have done this. Herod had 7 sons, and the fact that when he died, 4 were still alive was a minor miracle, because he had killed the other 3. He was always scared that somebody was going to overthrow him and take over the throne and everything else. And so he even killed his favorite wife. Can you imagine that? I mean, he was quite a vicious person. And when he found out there was a king born in his kingdom, I'm sure, as it says, he was furious. And he wanted to do something to stop this thing happening. So it's very probable this is the way he would have acted, kind of a thing, even though we can't find something in some other record to confirm it. Now, the death of a child is a terrible thing, isn't it? The natural course of thing is that the parents should die before their children do, that kind of a thing. And when a child dies because of being stillborn or having had an abortion while still in the womb, or having died after birth through things like a SIDS death. When I was a seminarian at Nativity, there was a young couple who had 2 children. One was stillborn, and the other was born, but they didn't get the child baptized right away. And the child died without being baptized, a SIDS death. And I worked with Father Robert Ponticello, and we buried that little baby in that little casket and everything else. And I can tell you the grandmother couldn't be consoled. It was just like Rachel in today's gospel. You know, it was like, oh my God, this child died before being baptized and all this other kinds of stuff. Well, the church now recognizes that God can't be constrained by a sacrament. In other words, he is merciful. He is mercy. He doesn't do mercy. He is mercy. And that therefore this child is with God, even though the child didn't actually have water poured on its forehead to be baptized. And we had to send this woman to grief counseling at St. Louis Parish, which was very famous at the time, those years ago. I don't know if they still do it, for a grief ministry, because she couldn't be consoled. And child died from disease or from something happening in the womb or at birth and all this other kinds of stuff. And just like in today's gospel, we know that children are being killed everywhere from the Sudan to Central America to Nigeria and all these other places through ethnic hatred and all these other kinds of political reasons. That children are being killed all the time. They're being killed because they don't have nourishment. They don't have clean water. They don't have the vaccinations that we have in order to get them through childhood illnesses and stuff. So these children are very, very susceptible to being killed. And today's the day we can remember their parents and them, because this thing that we hear about in the gospel still is happening today throughout parts of the world. And we want to pray for those children. We want to pray for their parents and their loved ones who all miss having this child in their life and having the child grow up into a mature adult. So it's remember also all who die in any way, shape, or form for different reasons. The world right now has a lot of hatred in it, and sometimes that hatred is manifested in acts of violence leading to death. And let's pray for those who were killed in such a way, and let's pray for all those who love them and or their family either by blood or by extension.